Hi, and welcome back to Mill Creek Kids at Home. I'm Ashley, and I'm so glad you're here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. And don't forget to wait till the very end for Craft Corner.
From the top of my head, way down to my toes, I can't keep it all inside. I wanna jump with all my might. From the top of my head, way down to my toes, I can't keep it all inside. I wanna dance with all my might. Everybody, everywhere, raise your hands up in the air and say, Jesus, Jesus is alive. Everybody, everywhere, raise your hands up in the air and say, Jesus, Jesus is alive. From the top of my head, way down to my toes, I can't keep it all inside. I wanna jump with all my might. From the top of my head, way down to my toes, I can't keep it all inside. I wanna dance with all my might. Everybody, everywhere, raise your hands up in the air and say, Jesus, Jesus is alive. Everybody, everywhere, raise your hands up in the air and say, Jesus, Jesus is alive. Everybody, everywhere, raise your hands up in the air and say, Jesus, Jesus is alive. Everybody, everywhere, raise your hands up in the air and say, Jesus, Jesus is alive.
Hey, good morning, friends. I'm so excited to be your storyteller today, and I've got some fun things in store in case you were wondering. So go ahead and watch the clip and come on back and we'll go have some fun.
Stories of the Bible, the parable of the great banquet. This is Jesus,
Heyo!
who is the Son of God and the Savior of the world. While Jesus was on earth, he taught everyone about God's love and healed people from their sickness. He did many miracles like walking on water
Oh, hey guys.
and even raised people from the dead.
Wahoo!
One day, Jesus went to eat at the house of a Pharisee. He said to the Pharisee who was hosting the meal, "When you give a dinner, do not invite your friends, your family, or your rich neighbors, for they will invite you back, and that will be your only reward. But invite the poor and those who have trouble seeing and walking. Then God will reward you for inviting those who could not repay you." When a man at the table heard what Jesus said, he said to Jesus, "What a blessing it will be to attend a banquet in the kingdom of God." Jesus replied with a story. A man prepared a great feast and sent out many invitations.
Already!
When the banquet was ready, he sent his servant to tell the guests, "Come, the banquet is ready."
Got it.
But they all began making excuses. One said, "I have just bought a field and must inspect it. Please excuse me." Another said, "I have just bought 5 pairs of oxen and I want to try them out. Please excuse me." Another said, "I just got married, so I can't come." The servant returned and told his master what they had said.
What? No way.
His master was furious and said, "Go quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and invite the poor. And those who have trouble seeing and walking." After the servant had done this, he reported, "There is still room for more."
Great, all right.
So his master said, "Go out into the country lanes and behind the hedges and urge anyone you find to come, so that the house will be full. For none of those I first invited will get even the smallest taste of my banquet."
So, we're back, and we just learned about the parable of the great banquet. A parable is a story that Jesus would use to make a point to whoever he was talking with that would explain something he was trying to get across. So he began to talk about a man who was going to have a big banquet or a party. And so as I was reading about it and thinking about it, I thought, what would I really like to have at a party? And it reminded me of a cake. That's actually one of my uncle's favorite cake to have. It's called an Appalachian stack cake. And so what would happen is that when they were going to have a big party up in the hills where they lived in Virginia, they would put out an invitation to everyone around. And when they came, they would all bring a layer for the cake. And then once they brought it to the party, they would then put it together and assemble it and use apples. Or apple butter. So today I'm going to show you how to make apple butter, and then we're going to go ahead and make a stack cake. So the first thing you need to do is to get some apples, and you're just going to cut them up. We're just going to core them. You can leave the peel on. I'm actually using yes. I'm cutting up some apples using a peeler here because I don't have to peel them. And I'm going to take them and I'm going to throw them in my crock pot. Now, when I used to make this when I was a little girl, we would have huge parties where the whole family would come over and we would make apple butter together because it takes a really long time. But the nice thing now is that we have crock pots or Instapots, and we can make it and throw it in there and get it going and forget about it because it needs to cook at like 10 hours. So I like to use a combination of apples. I like to use a sweet apple like a Gala and a sour apple like a Granny Smith. So after you cut up your apples, you throw them in the crock pot, and you're gonna add a whole bunch of really yummy stuff. So I'm going to add some apple cider. You can use any kind of liquid. You just need some kind of liquid. You can use water, you could use apple juice, and I'm using apple cider. I'm gonna pour that in. And then because we're doing apples and they're sour, you're gonna need some sugar. Now, I personally like a combination of sugar. So I'm gonna put some white sugar in, and I'm gonna put some brown sugar in. Gives it just a little bit more of a different taste. And then I'm gonna put in some of my favorite spices like cloves, just sprinkle that in, and some cinnamon. And I sprinkle a lot of cinnamon in because I like lots of cinnamon. And then some allspice. There's other things you can put into, but those are the main three. And we're gonna put them in, and then I take it, that's all we have to do. Put it in your crock pot, let it sit and cook, turn it on high for an hour, and then turn it on down to low and let it simmer for like overnight while you're sleeping. It's really easy. And then what happens is it comes out, which I've got some here already made, this nice, smooth, wonderful apple butter that you can put on your toast, or in this case, we put it on our stack cake. So what would happen, my mom and dad grew up in a little town called Wise, Virginia, and they lived up in the hills, and they didn't have a lot of money. So when there was a big party, everyone would bring a part of the cake, just one layer, just like this. So this is what is called a stack cake. It's kind of like a gingerbread cookie. So then they would take the cake and take apple butter and spread it all over the layer. And the next person came, they would take the layer they brought and put it on. And again, just put yummy, warm apple butter all over it. Sometimes people would use dried apples or different things. My family always used apple butter. And we would continue to layer and layer. And the way the story goes is that you could always tell how popular a bride and groom were by the number of pieces and stacks that went on their wedding cake, because they would use this cake as a wedding cake or to celebrate a big banquet. So our story tells us that there was a man who was going to have a big banquet, and he invited his friends to come. Now, we learned a few weeks ago when Shannon taught us about how weddings, we didn't always know when they were going to happen. So after the man got his banquet all ready to go, he then sent the guy who worked for him out and said, hey, go get all the people I invited and have them come. So out he went, and the first man he went to, he said, hey, it's time for the party. And the man goes, well, you know what? I just went ahead and bought some land and I need to go check it out. So I can't come, sorry. So he goes, okay. So he goes back to the next man. And he says, hey, the party's ready. We're waiting for you for the big banquet, for the big party. And the guy goes, well, actually, I just bought 5 yokes of oxen and I don't have time. I got to go train them. So we just tell him we're sorry, we can't make it. So by this time, the guy who worked for the man holding the banquet was like, oh no, nobody's coming to the party. So he goes to a final friend and he says, hey, are you gonna come to the party? And he says, no, actually, I just got married. So all of them had an excuse not to come to this banquet that this man prepared. So when the man went back and told his boss, hey, nobody's coming to your party, they're all busy, he got really upset, as you can imagine, because he's like, wait a second, I told them I was having a party, they said they'd come, and here they're not. So he then said, well, I want you to go out into the street and I want you to find whoever's walking on the street and I want you to have them come to the party. So that's what the man did. He went and he went out and he found people that were on the street. Now maybe these are people that weren't normally invited to parties. So they were excited and they came and they had a really good time, but yet there was still room. So he goes, go out into the hills and find anyone that would love to come to the party. And so he did, and they ended up having a fantastic celebration with this man, and what he thought was going to be a party that was going to be a dud because no one was coming ended up being a fantastic party. Now the reason why Jesus told this story was because he wanted to use it as an invitation to him. He would say, who I invite to the party are welcome. They're welcome to come and be a part of my family. But sometimes people put other things in front of Jesus. And so it's telling us to remind us that our first and foremost thing we need to do is to remember who Jesus is and remember how much he loves him and put him first in our life, above maybe a new pet or a new land or a new toy or a new experience at school. Because Jesus wants to be in relationship with us. He wants us to be a part of his family and to come and be able to celebrate with him for always. Thanks for listening.
Attention, attention, attention! Did I get everyone's attention? Great! It is time for our Bible memory verse. So pay attention. Here we go. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. All right, let's all say it together. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. Okay, now we're going to take a couple words away. All right, let's say it again. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. Can't forget the reference there. All right, let's do it again. A few more words gone. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. All right, let's take a few more words off. Okay, here we go again. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. Last time. All right, there's not very many words up there now. Okay, let's say it again. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6:8. Okay, good job, everyone.
Welcome back to Craft Corner.
That's right. And this week we learned about the Great Banquet, right? And so we thought it would be fun to make some placemats for maybe the upcoming Thanksgiving season.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to need for that is you're going to need some wax paper, 2 sheets. Okay. These might be a little long, so we might need to like trim it when we get to that
I like
place.
these big.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Better too big than too small.
And so then you're going to need some things to put inside the 2 layers. So one layer you can kind of put aside for now. And then the others, we've got some fall leaves, we've got some flowers. Ooh. This would be a really fun time to go out into your yard and pick up some real leaves. Like we're using, not real ones, artificial ones, but it would be really fun to go out and pick out some real leaves and let them dry and use it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so you can, and
There's a whole bunch on here. So
I know they do. You have to kind of take them apart.
Oh, yeah.
And then just decorate them. Lay them out. I like to do lay them in like a triangle. You ever do that? Like so that you, you kind
of
make
numbers.
Yeah, or make new triangles, right? And just do it that way.
I'm making mine on colors. my little ironing board.
On your ironing board? That's awesome.
That's perfect.
So after you get them all decorated how you want it to be, you're then going to put that second sheet of wax paper on top. And then with the help of your mom and dad, because this is a hot iron and we don't want to burn ourselves, that would be no fun. It is to have your parents help you and you're going to actually iron it. Okay, so I've got mine ready to go. So I'm going to lay my second piece of wax paper on top of it and lay it nice and even. And then we take the iron and I'm just going to right on top of that wax paper. Right now, because I don't have a handy dandy ironing board, we're just using a piece of felt. But you're just gonna go, and what happens is this hot iron is gonna melt the wax that's on the paper, and it's gonna hold it together. And what's cool is that way, after you use it, you can wipe it off and reuse it.
That is cool.
Isn't that cool? I remember doing this in kindergarten, which was forever ago, but it was so much fun. And then you'll notice, look here, they're melted together.
Looky.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna fold mine over and maybe I'll get a pair of scissors and I'll cut it. Like that.
I have to do mine in 2 shifts here.
Yeah.
My ironing board's not very big.
That's right. And I kind of like having mine even. But there, look. Now I've got this really cool. I think I'll iron mine a little bit more. Just in
place
holes
that you can put.
Well, you know what would be really fun is we make you can make your really fun placemat here. And then
Yes.
have some cake on it!
Yes. That's right. Some Appalachian stacking cake. Awesome.
cake.
All right. Okay, here, Lynette.
All right, while you do
Perfect.
that, I'll
So-
pass out.
Oh, some plates. I can put it on my placemat.
Okay.
This is really cool. Look at it.
I like it.
It's
Looks
really
good.
cool. How
That's
fun.
beautiful,
Isn't it
Marcia.
beautiful?
Yes.
I just use fall leaves. I love fall leaves. Oh, you're cutting it. How's it cutting?
It's cutting great.
Is it cutting great?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited to try this.
I really like apple butter.
Do you? I love
Yeah.
apple butter.
I feel like
Oh, that's a big piece.
I don't know this one.
Yeah. Because it's 6 layers, you know.
That's true.
Let's
A lot of layers.
see. I'm excited to see how it looks. Look how it comes out. That is just awesome.
Oh, look how cool that is.
That is so cool. Take that one over for Lynette.
Oh,
Look at that.
thank you.
That is just
Oh, it
beautiful.
smells so good.
That smells so good.
Oh my gosh.
Yay. Oh my goodness, you can just lay mine down. Oh, look how pretty it looks
pretty
even
that
laying
is.
down. I
That
know.
is
it was
so
like,
beautiful.
look at that.
That's amazing.
Look how pretty that is. Okay, here's the moment of truth.
We get to try it.
Give it a try. See if it
Okay.
how it tastes.
Oh, it smells so good.
Cinnamony.
That is good.
And it's not too sweet.
Not too sweet.
No.
Yeah.
I want to use my placement. So I'm going to finish mine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I think next time I make it, I think I might put a little bit more apple butter in the layers.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
More
Nice.
apple butter can always be good.
Never, you can't go wrong with a little more apple butter.
It's fantastic. And now it looks fantastic.
Yum.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your cake.
Oh, yeah. That was so much fun to make it. It reminded me so much of my mom and my family and growing up. It was really cool.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Very much fun. Well, great. So as always, we ask you, if you make the craft, please take a picture and send it to us. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. So good.
Yum.
Almost like it.